More and more and more young men are checking out, and instead of asking why, society just keeps mocking them, right? Especially these middle-aged women, these middle-aged white women. But here's the thing: when the effort no longer leads to anything worthwhile, right? There's no incentives, then what is the point, right? So what kind of future is that for these men? I think they're doing the logical thing by just walking away. That makes the most sense. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to slip into Gerbert's void here and get the lowdown.
Oh yeah! Welcome back to the Slop Channel. In today's topic, two middle-aged scoozies complain about young men not wanting to work or do anything after everything was taken from them. On the nationally syndicated news network Fox News. Now, as a young man, I don't tend to watch the news that much. I get my news from anonymous online shit posters, the tasteful way. But, you know, every once in a while, something comes across my field of vision, I go, wow. And, you know, whenever two childless women in their 30s and 40s want to lecture me about what I'm doing wrong, I perk my ears up, I sit my black ass down, and I listen. So this is called The Rise of Stay-at-Home Sons. Now, I've talked about stuff like this before, but let's see what these two snow bunnies have to say about it.
But I'll tell you this, leave it to Gen Z to...
Dude, of course, Tommy Lauren. I can't stand her, man. She is so annoying. It's just a covert feminist posing as a traditional woman.
Rebrand laziness and social awkwardness as something cutesy, like a stay-at-home son. They did much the same thing with quiet quitting, where you can go to work and do less, and if you call it quiet quitting, it's somehow better. But Laura, I gotta tell you, this is also a big problem when it comes to, I think, declining birth rates, people not getting married and having children. You know, that's a big problem. They blame it on women. Well, look at what young women have to choose from. The pickings.
Oh, shoot. So Tommy Lauren and her husband, former MLB player, JP, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but are reportedly separating and in the process of finalizing their divorce. The couple has been married since October 21st, 2022, after announcing their engagement September 2021. So yeah, after only not even 4 years, they're getting divorced. Okay.
Are slim. Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the feminization of men. There are a lot of young women out there that want to get married.
Yeah, because of feminist women like yourself, right? Women feminize men, dude. Men don't feminize men, except the men who are already feminized.
They want to have kids, they want to have stable families, but there are a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash. And
I love how it's always the trope of the basement. Your parents' basement, your mama's basement, ordering DoorDash. It's painting this picture of this fat Cartman character, this caricature of some loser in a basement with pimples on his face that's just lazy and sweaty and just wants to play World of Warcraft all day. Dude, that doesn't, yeah, those exist, but that's not the majority of young men out there. It's not these basement dwellers, and a lot of houses don't have basements.
Therein lies a big part of the problem.
Well, and also with the rise of AI and AI dating, as they call it, which is sick.
Which is sick. Dude, I'd rather date AI than have to listen to you, lady.
It's going to be even easier and perhaps more attractive for these types of individuals to remain behind closed doors. And what does that do to families and young women and dating?
So now you got people that want to literally stay inside and play video games and have AI girlfriends, and that's why we have declining birth rates and a lot of other problems.
No, it's not. I love how they oversimplified it. It's just a bunch of losers playing video games, and that's why no one's having babies. I think there's a pretty heavy percentage of men and women 18 to 24 that aren't in relationships, but it's not because men are playing video games. I talk about this all the time on the channel. There are so many factors that play into this. There are so many agendas that factor into this. It's not, you cannot just point the finger at men. Pointing it at young men, pointing at Gen Z, they're the reason why we have a declining birth rate. I don't think so. What about I don't know, abortion and the 60 million babies that have been killed? What is it, about 1 million every year that women abort every single year? Right? Their backup birth control. Give me a break, dude.
In society. It's time to go out, get a job, breathe the fresh air, meet people in real life. Let's just get back to basics.
All right.
Dude, if the people out there in real life are like you, then forget it. We'll stay at home. I mean, I'm not even a young man. I'm 40, but I understand why these Gen Z cats are just chilling.
All right. Very, very interesting stuff here. So a lot of young men are dropping out, giving up, and not working. This is no secret. What does Fox News have to say about it? It's because, they say, young men are feminized. They're just being bitches. The feminism problem, she says, is the feminization of men. There are lots of young women out there who want to start families. But there are lots of young men out there who just want to sit in mommy's basement and order DoorDash. This is also why there's declining birth rates, they say, because men are just these losers. Now, the first thing is some of this is just completely false. Most young men want to have children. Most young women do not. It's like 40% of young women that want to have children and 60% of young men. That's pretty crazy. That's from Pew Research. I've done a video about it before. Our survey finds that young adults who have never been married say they want to get married someday. A smaller share say they would like to have children someday. Young men are more likely than young women to say they want to have children. 57% versus 45%. And this difference is actually even greater because we have this not sure section over here where women said not sure more, 4%. So if you tally all that together, it's a 16% difference. That's pretty significant. Less than half of young women say they want to have kids. I'm no zoologist, but if you know how nature works, males display and women choose. This is the case with humans. The choosers don't want to have children.
Yeah.
So that's...
Yeah, they want to find themselves. They want to go on their trips, their vacations in their early 20s and just F around and waste their fertile years just... going to college to, get a roster going, and that's the last thing on their mind, man. It's the last thing on their mind. They get on birth control. Well, the amount of women there, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the amount of women that are on birth control right now. Give me a break. Give me a break. The number of women who like Planned Parenthood, who think who think that an abortion is considered reproductive health, really? And on top of that, most women, they lean to the left, and most men, they lean to the right. So there's an incompatibility personality-wise, and our worldviews are completely different. Women don't want that. They think that we're trying to dominate them, that we're oppressing them, and they don't want us to lead. They demand it. They demand us to be the leader, but then when we actually step up and we do it, then we're controlling. And they play the victim. Kind of like in the video yesterday, where they're the damsel in distress, but they're also the boss babe. You can't be both. Be one or the other. And if you expect men to cater to you and to have a family with you, then you need to get in line and submit to your spouse, the man that you supposedly want to have a family with. That's what you have to do. It's not that hard. Apparently it is, and it's not submission in the sense that you are in chains. It's the fact that you need him to lead him. You need him to be in his masculine purpose, and you need to be in your feminine purpose. That's the only way that this actually works. That's the only way that it works. I don't understand why they can't just get that through their heads. Well, I understand it because of all the propaganda the decades and decades of propaganda and all the way that the culture is designed, and all the movies and TV, just it doesn't tell women to be wives and be mothers. It doesn't. It tells them to be CEOs and to be business owners, right? Real estate agents. I swear to God, women who are real estate agents and attorneys, they are other than these two women here, they're the most obnoxious women in the entire world. Men are tired of that. Men are tired of being talked down to by these women. And this also is in lockstep with my video that I came out with back last summer. We were raised by women who hated men. A lot of these boys, these young men, are raised by women who hate men, who hate masculinity, and they feminize their boys. The single mother rate is so high, and they're churning out these losers that they're saying are the reason for the low birth rate and why women can't find decent men. There's just the pickings are slim, as Tommy said. Well, guess what? The pickings are slim on our end of the fence, our side of the fence. So
that's why there's declining birth rate, because these hoes are fried. They're operating under this wacky assumption that these hoes aren't fried. Now, there are some good chicks out there. There are some good quality broads, some good hus, some good quality thotties. But, I mean, you may as well be looking for an Asian. You may as well be looking for an Asian at, like, wherever Asians don't really go. You may as well be looking for, like, a Vietnamese basketball player. One might exist, but I don't know. And here's a little black pill about, that 40% of young women who do want kids, the trad girls. There's no real trad anymore.
No.
They're on the internet.
Yeah.
So even the ones that want families, they're going to be much more selective, much more hypergamous than an actual woman from a century ago. Men aren't giving up on work just because they're lazy bums who want to sit at home playing with a worm and ordering DoorDash. They're doing that because they can't get jobs. Okay, here's why men are not working. It's very simple. There's no incentive structure.
Yes, there's no incentive structure, and also the job market's crap, the economy is crap, the dollar is crap. Central banking has led us down that path. Government spending has led us down that path. We're treated like tax cattle. Outside of relationship dynamics, people in general are sick and tired of being slaves, because that's what we are. We're tax slaves for the elite. All of your taxes, they don't service anything that the government provides. No, they service the interest on the debt. That's all it is. They are the 39 trillion. What is it? About $1 trillion a year in interest payments? That's what it goes to, and it's impossible to pay it back. Impossible.
The money's not worth anything. You can't buy a house with it. Men used to be able to support a whole family off one income. Now they can't even support their own damn self.
Yeah, you could. Back in the 60s, it was like $1 on minimum wage, $1 an hour, a full-time job. If you index that in today's gold, you're making over $230,000. Just the normal Joe Schmo back then was making over $200,000 in today's purchasing power. Today's money. That's how bad the dollar is. That's how far down the purchasing power has gone. They've taken it, they've stripped it. By design, of course. It's not just these social agendas. It's financial. That's higher. There's a bigger agenda at play here, and what we're talking about here, what Tommy and that other lady are talking about, and that I'm talking about, and he's talking about, that's further down the pyramid. So.
I mean, they could get by, but not enough to actually build wealth or own anything. It's paycheck to paycheck, basically.
Yeah.
Saving little pennies. Oh, put it in the S&P. In 30 years, maybe you'll have some. In 30 years, this whole who knows what shit's gonna look like in 30 fucking years? Are you kidding me? Can't build wealth. Yeah. The dating market is broken. They're not working for a family. If you don't meet somebody young, if you don't meet somebody in like a very social environment, you could try asking a girl at work. That could go bad. If not, you have to use all these dating apps. That's
Yeah, I would not recommend any young men listening that have a job. Maybe you do have, maybe there are some attractive women at your work. Don't do it, man. You don't shit where you eat, man.
It's a nightmare. Also, like, half the jobs are slop. They don't even do anything. That's not even a joke. But even if all of that wasn't true, the job market itself, young men can't get a job. They're being replaced by women, by imported people. Take their jobs away, then go, why aren't you working? You're being a bitch. What do you mean? You took the job. The only jobs you can reliably get are like labor, like hard labor that many women won't do.
And those jobs, a lot of them don't pay that much, right? I mean, there's definitely a resurgence in blue-collar jobs. There are a lot of blue-collar jobs that are good to have. Of course, you need to have training and certifications, things like that, if you want to be a plumber or a journeyman or something. But they're taking all the white-collar jobs. Women are taking all the white-collar jobs. If you're a white dude, then they won't even entertain the thought of even interviewing you, because they have all these DEI initiatives, because they want to hire minorities and women. So,
but then you're out here working, breaking your back, still not to be able to build actual wealth. If you're paying rent, if you're paying for all this stuff. Some of these manual jobs you can make above 6 figures, but that's like, that used to be rich. Now that's just what you need to be able to actually purchase a home. And even then you still have to.
Dude, yeah, you can make $75,000, $85,000, even $100,000 and be broke, living paycheck to paycheck. That is how bad it is. You can be making $100K a year and be living paycheck to paycheck. That's why it's very important that you live below your means if you can. At least live in your means. But there's so many people, they have to get a nice car, right? They're out here buying BMW, the really, like the poor man's BMW, the poor man's Mercedes. Stop doing that, man. Just get a beater. Just drive a whoopty. It's totally fine. I do. It's a 2013 Mazda 3. It's a total chick car. It sucks, but it gets me from point A to point B, and I don't have any payments on it. And the insurance is like $75, it's like $75 a month. Do that. That's because the new car. It's not gonna matter. The novelty is gonna wear off in like a month, 3 weeks, something like that, and then you're just gonna regret it. You're gonna have buyer's remorse. So don't do it, man. A lot of people just they're financing things that they shouldn't be financing and just struggling. It keeps you on the hamster wheel, right? And you remain a slave that way. That's how they get you.
To somehow contend with meeting women when you're just working with dudes at what, like a construction site all day? Somehow trying to meet a girl and then building a family after all day. It's just like a crazy line of hoops you have to jump through just for shit that should be normal.
It's time to go out, get a job, breathe the fresh air, meet people in real life. Let's just get back to basics.
That's gone. All these conservatives have to offer is this normalcy bias. Just giving this same like browbeating men repeated advice for an order that has vanished a long time ago. You can't just tell young men to work when they won't get anything out of it. What are you doing? They can't offer anything real, any actual advice. They just got to keep on working, keep on doing these things, even though the moral duty, responsibility of a man to work is tied to authority, to things you get, purchasing power, and a family. Yeah. If you don't have these things, this is very simple.
You can't have a family without purchasing power, for which we have very little. You cannot build a family on the purchasing power that we currently have unless you make a lot of money. A lot. Yeah, if you're making $200,000 to $400,000, then bam, you're at the bottom still, but you're doing all right. Now you got to be a freaking millionaire to have a family.
Why would you work if these things are harder to get? If all these things are just like impossible mode, nightmare difficulty, people are just going to be like, fuck it. So men aren't dropping out of the workforce because they prefer just sitting at home gooning and ordering DoorDash. They're doing that because they've said, fuck it. Like they've tried, or they've looked around and they've seen things and they've gone, it's just like not worth it. You have to try 100 times harder for very small results. So this whole men aren't working because of this feminization, that's an interesting angle. It's an interesting rhetorical angle. These conservatives, like, they don't look at the actual underlying problems. Oh, they're just doing it because they're lazy. Why are they?
Yeah, they're ignoring the real reasons why, for which there are many, and none of their fingers are pointing to them. Hence, they can't take accountability. Shocker.
Lazy? Why do they feel so demoralized? There are real serious underlying things going on here. Can you just go out, get a job, get a wife, get a house? Can you just get back to basics? The option is actually gone. So this feminization, oh, you're being feminine, is a tool they use. It doesn't make sense because being a man isn't valued. You be a man and you work harder for nothing. And I would watch very closely this rhetoric. If by happenstance we stumbled, whoopsie, into a war, and, young men have...
This was made, this is back in June of last year is when this came out, and hey, less than a year later, what are we in? A war.
Been signing up for the military, and they say, we need these people, we need a draft, we need to go to war. This same card's...
Aren't they doing a draft? Hold on here. Do we got a draft going on here? No, there is no active military draft in the United States right now. All right, but there's talk of it.
Going to be pulled out. Oh, you're being feminine. They're going to do that. Here's another one. I'd say stay-at-home sons here to stay.
Sometime how Democrats have alienated young men. Okay, now speaking of young men, my own sons better tune this out. A Wall Street Journal headline got our attention. The new dream job for young men: stay-at-home son. Stay-at-home sons. It might be an improvement. Don't we keep hearing, Smug, of like stay-at-home 30-year-olds, like dudes that haven't moved out by the time. This is 20 to 24-year-olds. I'm not as concerned about them as I am as the failure to launch 30-year-olds, which I think that's also.
Dude, I moved out of my parents' house. This is back. I was 19 when I moved out. 19. And that was back in 2004. But guess what? It was doable back then. I could get an efficiency apartment for like $300 or $350 a month. Pretty cheap, dude. And then in 2011, I was able to get a room in Portland, Oregon. Like rent a room for between $300 and $400 a month. But now, forget about it, dude. Forget about it.
Also a real thing. Like, grow up, get a job, get a wife, build a family.
That's the whole thing. That sequence of events, which is just normal, the normal life, is like a Herculean feat in 2025.
Yeah, it is.
And this is for serious foundational reason.
I'll give them a little bit of grace. There was a statistic that came out. It was in the Journal. I want to say it was about a month ago.
Dude, what is up with this guy with the freaking shades, dude? Has he got a medical condition? Did he have an eye doctor appointment and they had to dilate his eyes? What's going on?
That 90% of positions that went to companies in the S&P 500 went to non-white males in this country over the past 5 years. Yep. That was stunning to me. It's stunning. And the reason for that is because we had an era of DEI, which was pushed, and it was basically excluding. There's a reason why.
What do you mean had? There still is DEI. It's all over the place. All these capitalist companies are adopting communism. It's a bad idea.
Like Democrats are like, why can't we communicate to this group? It's not a communication issue. It's a policy issue. You demonized a group of people. You told them they weren't wanted. And so I see this as somewhat of an outgrowth of that. So I can give a little bit of grace. At the same time, that era is being wiped clean. You have an administration that believes in, for the first time, it's shocking, equal opportunity. Can you believe that? Yeah. Everyone on the same footing.
Yeah, dude, don't hang your hat on whoever is the ruler of the U.S. at the time. Of course, the president doesn't actually do anything. He's just a face.
Best person wins the job. But I think
he's an actor.
when you see this administration, you see the policies, it's already gotten the economy going, it's got people excited. I think young men aren't going to have to worry about being stay-at-home sons. They're going to be out there getting it done.
Let's hope
No,
that's true.
they're not.
Let's hope it is true.
No, it's not, dude. Oh my God. The fact that people think that if you go into a closet with a curtain and check a box, it's gonna fix shit. It's not how reality works, man. These freaking normies, dude.
True that it's.
All right. Well, that's just kind of like political slop. Oh, the DEI took away the jobs, and now Trump's back to save everything. Oh, he's going to get rid of it. Over half a century of constant inflation, multiple financial crashes, BlackRock.
Jeffrey Epstein's best friend's gonna save you guys. Yeah, right.
2020 pandemic, constant war machine, birth rate completely falling off a cliff around 15, 20 years ago, mass immigration, the internet messing with dating. Hey guys, we just fixed DEI. Hey, your dog ran out the front door and he got hit by a car, but I closed the door now, so it's good. What the fuck are you talking about? And I mean, this is getting political, but I'm reacting to Fox, so it is what it is. This is disingenuous because the tech people that are all over Trump's whole thing, they want to import workers very clearly. Like the all this news, it's like a half truth, okay? It's not like they're just completely fabricating things. There is some truth to what is said in the level of comfort that we now have access to in the postmodern world and how it does neuter men. Now, it's one thing to say that these men are dropping out and not doing anything because of it. If there were real gain to be had in the real world, we would not see this level of detachment and escapism from young men. But there is no doubt that it does neuter you, and the world kind of caters in a toxic way to this neat lifestyle. You do not have to go outside. You can order everything. You have all these copes. You can simulate social interaction. It's all there in any other time.
And men aren't the only ones that are participating in this. Women are too. Tons of women. How many stay-at-home daughters are there? I imagine quite a few. Quite a few. Let's run the numbers on that, shall we?
If men were subject to this level of like being completely made inviolable, this level of disenfranchisement, I guess you could call it, it would not last long. Like shit would go down. The only reason this hasn't happened is because of these copes that take men's balls away. They take away the fire. Let's say you're sitting at a poker table, you don't have great cards, and you find out the game is rigged. What today's men do, and they go, oh no, I'm just going to keep on folding, and they pull out their phone and they just like doom scroll or whatever. In the past, what would have happened when the men found out the game is rigged, they would have flipped the table. I'm not saying crash out. Here's what I'm saying. While it does make sense to not participate in this thing that doesn't care about you, that doesn't get you anything, that is excessive work for little reward, that was promised in the past but is no longer at all promised now. I understand that. But to forego all of that to then just like constantly cope with video games and pornography and this AI stuff and Uber Eatsing shit to your house, like you are just building this escapist hell. These things do not make you happy. That's fun for a few months, but it's called repressive coping. The world will catch up to you sooner or later. And well, basically what it is it's just like a roundabout way to end your own life. That's what the constant escapism of being a NEET is. And I don't think that's based. You'd have a hard time convincing me how that's like a base thing to do. Once you realize you're in this position, is you may as well go all in. Like you can have plans, you can do things. You don't need to break your back for people that don't care about you, but you also don't need to game and goon all day. Yeah. You can build skills that you enjoy. You can just
Right. I mean, that's what I'm doing with this channel. I'm not just gooning and playing video games all day. I'm actually doing something productive right now. I'm doing it right now, dudes. But yeah, I'll leave the link down to his video here. Gerbert's Boyd. So yeah, go show him some love if you haven't already. But yeah, it's just a lot of you have already know about the mouse utopia experiment, right? It's known as otherwise known as Universe 25. It was a study it was John Calhoun. It was back in the 60s and 70s, like 68 to 73, I think. But yeah, they created this mouse heaven with all of this unlimited food and water and all these nesting spots, but they had limited space, just like you would see in a city, right? It was like 100 inches. It was like 100 something inch square cage. And once it became overpopulated, just their behavior just went. The birth rates declined. Their behavior became erratic. It's the same thing as the human zoo. If you've ever read that by Desmond Morris, he was a zoologist, and I think that came out in the 60s. But it's the same premise, really. He argues that modern city life forces humans into an artificial environment, much like you would see with animals in a zoo. And then that leads to a lot of social and sociological problems, which it has. It was published in 1969. And so basically the book, what it does is it compares urban dwellers to captive animals, noting that while basic needs are met, the lack of natural space and tribal structure causes stress, and it causes aggression and then other maladaptive behaviors, which humans, and unlike animals, we have other coping mechanisms like fashion and gangs and consumerism. But what it suggests is that the premise is that humans they're biologically ill-equipped for the impersonal sprawl of cities despite cultural development. So yeah, there are a lot of it's all about that urban confinement. People are more messed up in cities than they are in rural areas. So a lot more coping mechanisms. They have more outlets to do that, right? You got the red light districts in a lot of cities, but and that's the agenda for by 2030. If you want to look it up, there's a video called "The Future is Urban." It was created by the Pentagon. It came out in 2016, and they tell you what they're expecting the world to look like. And the future is urban. They're expecting that everything for there to be, most people are going to be in urban areas, and there's going to be shanty towns. And I'll leave the link down to that. I'll try and find that. That way you can check that out. That's really interesting. And it's 2026, so 4 years away from that. I understand why young men have lost that fire. I've lost that fire in a way too. I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm not Gen Z. I'm a geriatric millennial, but I understand. I wanted a family. I do have a son, but not in the traditional sense. I don't have I don't have a wife and a child, so it's not that dynamic. When I was younger, was expecting to have a wife and children. A lot of men were. A lot of men want that. Even these men that are supposedly gooning in their parents' basements and playing video games and ordering DoorDash and Uber Eats, they want that, but the central bank is standing in the way of that. Culture is standing in the way of that. Propaganda is standing in the way of that. Trillions of dollars of propaganda. And all we can do is just fight it with memes and not participating, right? Checking out, opting out, finding alternatives, whatever the case may be. A lot of men are finding that stuff abroad in other countries where where the US dollar does go further, right? If you want to go to Mexico or Nicaragua, Paraguay, a lot of people are, especially in Canada, they're going down to Paraguay because cost of living is 3 times cheaper, right? And same with Mexico. Latin America is really where it's at right now. And so if I wasn't confined to Michigan, that's where I would be. I would be down in Latin America somewhere because it is more economically free. The government kind of stays out of your life, especially in Mexico. People there don't really listen to the government. So that's a great thing that they are able to plant their own food, do their own thing. They're not hurting anyone. They're just living their lives. That's what people want. Most people, they don't want to harm other people. They just want to live their lives. They want to be free to live their lives and not be bothered. And yes, they would like to have a family and some sex and some great food and come home to a clean house and the pitter patter of children. Right? They want to be able to read books to their children and raise them to be decent human beings and create a world that's worth living in by having other decent human beings. It all begins with the family, and they've destroyed that. So they're glossing over the more important matters intentionally, because it's Fox. It's all propaganda. It's just a way to keep people. It's just to continue this infighting, so that the elite, they can run away with the bag. That's the whole point. But I'm done with that. I'm done rambling. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.